Yeah. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they the ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubters sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones that believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wantin' more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. Yeah.
Here's Navarro on the run. Navarro's going to keep it. Navarro for 6! Touchdown, Bobcat!
I feel I had a hard time staying in my own lane.
Oh my goodness! Red Murdoch! Pick 6! Harvath inside the 30 to 20. Blake Harvath will score! And Mendoza takes a big hit. He never saw it coming. Trey White got in there. There's his man, Rucker. And nobody's going to catch him. Goodbye. Intercepted. Tyree Skipper. Touchdown.
Telly again, why not? A step forward and make it 2 for Telly.
Quarterback keeper. Showing off the speed. Steps on the gas. Untouched.
The G5 Hive. All G5 all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive, where we bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Luke, and I'm joined by my co-host, Justice. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're watching us X, please give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. And if you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. Tonight, we'll be bringing you up to speed around the G5, review what went down in Week 10, set you guys up for success in Week 11 with our Week 11 previews, and we're going to close things out with our 2020 players. We've had those gone for a little bit while we've been doing the waiver wire stuff for our fantasy football friends. This is the last week of the regular season for a majority of the leagues, so we're going to switch back to our 2020 players.
Yeah, those players don't change a lot. The later you get in the season, the more consistent they are. So, yeah, do it tonight. Probably do it at least once more, end of the season. Our website's live. We've gotten great feedback, lots of positive feedback. Folks love it. So if you are a college fantasy football player, definitely encourage you to go check out our website. We have more data than you can imagine, both offense and defense. We have tools for offense. We have tools for folks that play college IDP. We have stuff that doesn't exist anywhere else. So subscribe now while you can, and use a discount code. It's tagged on his what's pinned. It's pinned on our X account, where you can subscribe now, and that's going to be good for all the way until November of 2026. That code's not going to last forever, so encourage folks to do it now and get your subscription already. Go ahead and get it for 2026. But enough of that.
I do want to mention one thing that's new to the site that I have really enjoyed. Has been like the fantasy points for the wide receivers, because you can break it down to out wide versus the slot and figure out what teams aren't doing well against the slot versus the outside. So you can kind of like figure out if you're between a couple of players, you're like, okay, the odds are this is probably the play. That's probably been one of the coolest things.
Yep. The fantasy points against, right? Where you can look and see who's given up the most fantasy points to quarterbacks, tight ends. And then if you play IDP, the same thing. Who's given up the most fantasy points to defensive line? We also have tackles for the defensive side. Who's given up the most tackles to linebackers, etc. Tools that don't exist anywhere else. So, go ahead and sign up now and save yourself some money for next year. But enough about that. Let's get to our players of the week.
All right. My offensive player of the week for week 10, UTSA quarterback Owen McCown. Owen passed for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Roadrunners to a big victory over Tulane. Congratulations, Owen.
My defensive player of the week for week 10, Arkansas State edge DeMarcus Hendricks. DeMarcus had 7 tackles, 1 solo, 1 pass defense, 2 tackles for a loss, and 2 sacks to lead the Red Wolves to a big victory over Troy, getting themselves in position to possibly win that Sun Belt West. Congratulations, DeMarcus. My offensive player of the week for week 10, Liberty running back Evan Dickens. Evan rushed for 217 yards and 4 touchdowns to lead the Flames to a big Conference USA victory over Delaware. Congratulations, Evan.
My defensive player for week 10, UConn cornerback Cam Chadwick. Cam had 7 tackles, 5 of which were solo, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack, 1 pass defense, and 3 interceptions to lead the Huskies to a victory over UAB. Congratulations, Cam. The G5 Hive freshman offensive player of the week for week 10. Who would have thought? It's again North Texas running back Caleb Hawkins. Caleb ran for 197 yards and 4 touchdowns while adding 3 catches for 9 yards to lead the Mean Green to a big victory over Navy. Congratulations, Caleb.
I think that's like the 4th time. Maybe it's the 5th time, but it's at least the 4th time for sure that Caleb's been the freshman offensive player of the week. He's kind of like this year's G5 Ahmad Hardy, right? Ahmad Hardy won it so often last year.
Yep.
All right, our G5 Hive freshman defensive player of the week for week 10, Kennesaw State edge Elijah Hill. Elijah had 3 tackles, 2 solos, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 2.5 sacks to lead the Owls to a victory over UTEP. Congratulations, Elijah.
All right, Justice. We've got a lot to cover towards the end of the season, but let's buckle up and dive right into things. Before we get into the games, let's first start with what the Swarm needs to know, our news and notes.
So not a lot of news per se this week. Got some injury stuff. But earlier today, Bowling Green put out a press conference, announced that offensive coordinator Travis Partridge was relieved of his duties. The official school press the press release did not say what the plan was moving forward in terms of who was going to be the play caller, who was going to be the OC. So I'm not sure on that. Online, a lot of folks were pushing for Pudge. If you don't know who Pudge is their the mascot, the cat, right?
Yeah.
Who's kind of gained some notoriety there on social media. But anyway, not sure who's going to take over that for Bowling Green. Stay tuned to that. First year coach, first year OC. Yeah, things just weren't working, and they made a move. All right, some injury news from Tuesday night's game. Texas State safety Bobby Crosby had to be carted off near the end of the third quarter after colliding with a teammate. It didn't look good at all. I don't know. The game was probably paused for 10 minutes or so while they attended to him and got him off the field. He did give a thumbs up on his way out. He was released from the hospital and supposedly is doing well. No further information was given. Coach Kenny thought it was possible that we might see Crosby back before the end of the season. Same game, Texas State wide receiver Chris Don limped off the field in the first half, and he did not play in the second half. So stay tuned to his availability moving forward. Liberty linebacker Joseph Carter is out for the season. It's a huge blow to that Flames defense. He was the man in the middle, the kind of the leader of that defense. Kennesaw State linebacker Garland Binyard is out for the season, torn Achilles, a big blow for them, one of their leaders in the linebacker corps, and that's Gabriel Binyard's brother. App State tight end Isaiah Cummings is out for the season. As I mentioned last week, he got carted off the field in the game against Old Dominion when Rashad DeBinion collided with him on a run. And don't know what the injury is, but whatever it is, it's serious enough that he's out for the rest of the year. Memphis quarterback Brendan Lewis got injured. Back to Isaiah Cummings. If you do play college fantasy football and you're looking for a replacement, it's probably going to be Kanan Hamlet. He got 10 targets in that ODU game after Cummings went out. Memphis quarterback Brendan Lewis got injured in the Week 10 game versus Rice, but reports today where he was at practice, he looked good. All indications are he should be good to go this week. Arkansas State offensive lineman Tristan Smith had to be carted off the field with a right leg injury. If he misses some time, that's going to be a big blow for the Red Wolves. Boise State quarterback Maddox Manson was carted off the field in Week 10, and after the game, it was said that he will be out for a while. And
so for that, it's a little bit misleading because yes, he was carted off the field, but he was helped off the field, and then he got carted off to he couldn't walk the rest of the way. So it was like he got off the field, and then they took him to the locker room. Then it was I think he was in a boot. Definitely had crutches thereafter. So
that's a big blow for Boise State. Without him,
they did not look good.
Yeah, we'll get to the game, but yeah. Washington State offensive lineman Brock Dew left the game with injury, was unable to return in that quasi Pac-12 championship game, part one of the Pac-12 championship game against Oregon State. Florida International quarterback Juwan Jenkins got banged up in Week 10. It was a lower body injury. They said he could have returned in the game if necessary. Oregon State quarterback Jabari Johnson got the start this week, but he injured his foot and was able to return to the game. Louisiana quarterback Lunch Winfield had to leave the game with an ankle injury in the Week 10 game. They just got Walker Howard back. So stay tuned for all you Lunch Winfield fans to see what his availability is moving forward. That's it for the injury news. Undefeated teams in the G5, there are no more. Navy's loss to North Texas ended the only team that was undefeated up to this point. But we still have two winless teams in the G5. We have the UMass Minutemen, who are 0-8. They take on Akron this week. And then we have the Sam Houston Bearcats, also 0-8, and they take on the current Pac-12 champs, who are 1-0 in the Pac-12, the Oregon State Beavers this week. I don't know that either one of them get a win this week. I mean, If I had to bet, I guess I'd just bet UMass just because Sam Houston is so bad. So bad. But, we'll see. All right. Moving to the G5 and the AP top 25, we have Memphis. They jump up to 22 in the AP poll with their win over Rice. They are the lone G5 rep in the AP top 25. However, in the other receiving votes category, you got JMU coming in at number 27 with 53 votes. San Diego State, number 29 with 30 votes. North Texas, number 30 with 27 votes. And South Florida, number 31 with 23 votes. North Texas getting more votes than South Florida seems odd to me, right? Like South Florida beat them pretty good. It just, I don't know. It just seems really weird. But nonetheless, that's the AP votes. Moving on to the G5 Hive top 25. For our audio listeners, these are our votes as submitted after week 10 to the Hero Sports G5 top 25 consensus media poll. There's 20 or so voters. We're one of the 20 voters. So here's our top 25 after week 10. We got Memphis at number 1, South Florida 2, the Dukes of JMU coming at number 3, the Mean Green of North Texas at 4, San Diego State number 5. And then after this, like me and Luke were talking about, like things kind of like get I don't know, like less confidence about it. But we got number 6 is Tulane, 7 East Carolina, 8 Navy, 9 Southern Miss, 10 Kennesaw State, 11 New Mexico, 12 Old Dominion, 13 Ohio, 14 UNLV, 15 Hawaii, 16 Boise State, 17 Jacksonville State, 18 UConn, 19 Fresno State, 20 Western Kentucky, 21 Troy, 22 Louisiana Tech, 23 Western Michigan, 24 Coastal Carolina, and rounding out our top 25, the Red Hawks of Miami. Now, for the first time all season, our poll and the Hero Sports consensus media poll, we both have the same 25 teams. So there aren't any teams that we have ranked that they don't, and vice versa. First time that's happened this year. Obviously, we don't have them in the same order. So some of those biggest differences between our poll and that consensus poll. So we'll start off with teams we are lower on. And this first one's been this way for a while. Western Kentucky, we have them at 20. The consensus poll has them at 13, 7-spot difference. You know, they are looking better, right? With Rodney Tisdale Jr. At quarterback, they are looking a little bit better. Be interesting to see what's going to happen, if anything happens, when Maverick McIver supposedly gets healthy, because Tisdale seems to be running that offense a little bit better than McIver. Of course, Tisdale has the threat of a run, right? And so anytime you got a dual threat quarterback, that adds an extra layer of complexity for an offense, and extra, something that the defenses have to prepare for. So it opens other things up. The other team, or the next highest teams, same difference. We have 7-spot difference, is the Miami Redhawks. We have them at 25. The consensus poll has them at 18. And then the third team is Boise State. The consensus poll still has them at number 10. We put them all the way down to 16. And I don't want to speak for Luke, but I think I would assume for both of us, a big part of that is the loss of Maddox Madsen.
Yep.
And what we expect to happen go forward.
Yeah, they weren't looking all that great with Maddox Madsen, and then you couple what they looked like without him. Granted, obviously you don't, practice to play with your backup quarterback, but it did not look good. And like you said, if he's going to be out for a while, like I guess I'm just kind of putting that into this as well. The other one that kind of stands out is Miami and Western Michigan. Like Miami beat Western Michigan, so you would think, you play the game on the field, that team should be above, Western Michigan, and Ohio's like way up there. Like what's going on there? I just think it's quarterback play and overall defense. And Ohio's just much better, I think, than both of those teams.
But we'll see. We're going to find out this week, right?
Yeah.
We'll find out this week. Big matchup in the MAC with Miami and Ohio playing each other this week.
So, but yeah, if you want to put Miami ahead of Western Michigan, fine. But I just think Western Michigan, while they lost the game on the field, they're playing much better football.
So teams that we are much higher on than the consensus poll. This one, number one, is the same team, the same from last week, Jacksonville State. We have them at 17. The consensus poll has them at 23, 6-spot difference. Hawaii, the consensus poll really dropped Hawaii big time after that loss. Because I want to say, like last week, both us and the consensus had them, I don't know, like 11, maybe even top 10, somewhere around there, 10 to 12 range. And in the consensus poll, they dropped to 20. We dropped them to 15, so 5-spot difference there. And then a team that we've been higher on all year, Ohio, who we just talked about, we have them at 13. The consensus has them at 17, so a 4-spot difference. Everything else, we were within 3 spots or less in terms of the consensus poll. Yeah, and like I said, like to me, like things got really kind of a lot of question marks after number 5, especially when you get past like number 9, number 8. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's you could rank these teams a lot of different ways when you get that back half of the poll. So not surprised that that's where we're seeing the biggest differences between us and that consensus poll.
A couple things here. Got New Mexico at 11, who lost to Boise State, but again, factoring in the Maddox Batson loss. And then just something I want to point out, because it's wild to think what a year makes. Number 9, Southern Miss. 9th.
One of the worst teams.
One of the worst teams last year. Number 9. Yeah. And then Kennesaw State, who fired their head coach, I don't know.
Mid-season last year. Yeah.
And here they are, number 10, towards the end of, let's see, just a wild
I think
difference.
In the consensus poll, they were 11, I think, is where they ended up. The consensus poll had Boise at 10. I think that's the only difference in our top 10 is we have Kennesaw. They had Kennesaw 11. They have Boise 10. So, but yeah.
Shout out to those two teams.
All right. You ready to get into some Week 10 in review and Week 11 preview?
Let's do it. All right. Our Pac-12 UConn coverage, Week 10 in review Saturday game, Washington State, Oregon State, barn burner here for Clint. He's, very pumped. A 10-7 Oregon State win. Now, he does say they're the Pac-12 champs, but because the teams play twice this season, this game is actually considered a non-conference game. So I don't know if we're really Pac-12 champs. I don't know. But the first 3 quarters featured 14 punts, 9 of which were 3-and-outs, 2 interceptions, a touchdown and a field goal. Washington State led 7-3 going into the fourth quarter. With 11:29 left in the game, Malik Murphy found Taz Reddix for 25 yards. Then Anthony Hankerson ran for 37 yards on the next play. And then Hankerson would punch it in from the 1-yard line to give the Beavers the 10-7 lead. That would prove to be the final as Oregon State wins at home. Jabari Johnson got the start, as Justice mentioned, but only threw for 33 yards in the game. And Malik Murphy came in relief with about 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter with that apparent foot injury. Anthony Hankerson ends the day with 25 rush attempts, 134 yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. What Anthony Hankerson provided today is kind of what I think people were expecting him to do kind of all season. It hasn't been maybe quite the year that Anthony Hankerson has wanted. Still a good year, but maybe not as great as they wanted. All right. Our week 11 preview. We've got, or I guess we're going to, we've got Sam Houston at Oregon State. That is going to be in the CUSA preview. That will
coming up in a minute.
And then UConn, week 10 in review. That is going to be in the American review when they played UAB. So now let's look at our week 11 preview. We've got Duke versus UConn, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. This is a G5 versus P4 matchup. I got to get my lines up. I forgot to get that going.
It's Duke favored by 9.5, over under 66.5. I expect a lot of offense in this game. I want to say if you look at the two quarterbacks, man, they take care of the ball. I want to say I think I saw Mike Bainbridge post something earlier where the combined stat line for Darian Mensah and Joe Fagnano is 43 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, something like that. So two quarterbacks that can throw it around and take care of the ball. I expect a close, high-scoring game. I wouldn't be shocked if UConn wins. I don't necessarily expect them to win, but I think they can keep it closer than the 9.5. Joe Fagnano, Skylar Bell having outstanding seasons. Cam Edwards, Juice Vereen, the tight end, man, the transfer from NC State has come on strong the last 3 weeks for the Huskies. I think he might have scored a touchdown each of the last 3 weeks.
Two. He scored 2 2 weeks ago. I think it was.
I think one each the last 2, something like that. But yeah, I think the Huskies can keep this game close. It's at home. We saw Duke lose earlier to Tulane. But yeah, I expect a high scoring offensive affair there in Connecticut coming up on Saturday.
All right. Well, let's move on over to our Conference USA Week 10 in review. Tuesday games. We have UTEP at Kennesaw State, 8 p.m. Eastern. First touchdown, Skylar Locklear. UTEP fumbles, scoop and score for Kennesaw. Second touchdown was a punt return touchdown by Kennesaw State's Gabriel Benyard. Dexter Williams got the start at quarterback for Kennesaw, but kind of stunk in this one. Amari Odom comes in, leads the Owls on a scoring drive. UTEP had plenty of opportunities to win the game, but penalties by their defense is what cost them in the fourth quarter. A roughing the passer penalty negated a UTEP interception. Kennesaw State would later score a field goal on that drive. Then later in the fourth quarter, another penalty on the sack that would have a fourth down punt got called for an unsportsmanlike, and that kept the drive going. On the same drive, UTEP got a defensive pass interference. Kennesaw State would score a touchdown on that drive. Those two drives got Kennesaw State 10 points and 9 minutes and 32 seconds off the clock there in the fourth quarter as Kennesaw State wins 33-20.
Yeah, that was really the game. The defense, man, the UTEP defense shot themselves in the foot multiple times in that fourth quarter, and that was the difference in the game.
All right. Wednesday game, we had Jacksonville State at Middle Tennessee. Jacksonville State quarterback Caden Creel was pretty much neutralized on the ground as he only had 16 carries for 31 yards. Jaquil Metterbrick, he is so good. He only had 10 rush attempts for 20 yards and a touchdown, but 6 receptions for 87 and a touchdown. He just needs to touch the ball more. It's like the same thing with UNLV and
Jaden
Thomas. It's like I felt like anytime I looked up, he wasn't getting rushing attempts. Like he had the most, but I just felt like every time I looked up, he wasn't getting the ball. Cam Cook continues to cook as he had 21 rush attempts for 105 yards and a touchdown. Jacksonville State wide receiver DeAndre Johnson with 4 for 131 and 2, including a wide receiver screen pass to Gavin Wimsatt, who then threw it to a wide open Johnson for a 56-yard touchdown and their first touchdown of the game in the second quarter. Heading into the fourth, it was 14-7 Middle Tennessee, but Jacksonville State had the ball, a field goal, Middle Tennessee punt followed by a Jacksonville State touchdown put the Gamecocks up 17-14 with just over 10 to go in the game. Middle Tennessee would respond with a 6-yard Middlebrook touchdown to go up 4, but Cam Cook would put Jacksonville State up for good as he had a 3-yard touchdown rush, and that proved to be the difference maker as Jacksonville State wins 24-21. FIU at Missouri State. Evenly matched game here, but it was a bit of a surprise for me that FIU struggled to run the ball in this one as they were only able to average 3.3 yards per attempt. Shamari Lawrence in his revenge game had 14 rush attempts for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Jacob Clark set a Missouri State school record for career touchdown passes with 48, which passes the record of 47 held by Cody Kirby. FIU had too many penalties in this one. They had 8 for 75 yards. FIU quarterback Jenkins left the game with a lower body injury with about 11 minutes to go in the fourth. As Justice said, Jenkins got banged up but could have come back into the game. The backup quarterback, Joe Pazanski, finished the game. His drives would be 3 plays for 4 yards, 5 plays for 7 yards, and then 6 plays for 65 yards and a touchdown drive to make this game look a little bit closer than it really was. Missouri State wins 28-21. It just felt like with Jenkins out and it being a 7-point game and that 3-and-out followed by a quick Missouri State touchdown to go up 14 with 8:21 left was just too much to overcome for the Panthers. And like I said, Missouri State wins this one 28-21. Louisiana Tech and Sam Houston. This one was over by the half. It was 27-0 Louisiana Tech. Yardage-wise, it was 373 for Louisiana Tech, 141 for Sam Houston. First downs was 15-10 advantage Louisiana Tech. And Louisiana Tech was in third in distance just one time in the first half. Just some players to highlight. Louisiana Tech running back Clay Tevin was 11 rush attempts for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns, and running back Omari Wiggins 14 attempts for 136 and 1. Sam Houston running back Elijah Green ended the day 10 for 191 and 2. It was all Landon or Coco Brown in the first half, so he did all that work in the second half. Delaware Liberty had 5 possessions in the first half and scored 4 touchdowns, while Delaware had 6 possessions and scored 9 points. Simple. Touchdowns versus field goals. Now Delaware would cut the lead to 11 with 5:49 left in the third, but then score on each of their next 4 possessions, 24 points to roll on this one 59-30. I guess Liberty would go on to score 4 of their next possessions to roll. Liberty's running back Evan Dickens would run for a career-high 217 yards and 4 touchdowns as he was Justice's Offensive Player of the Week. Delaware was not particularly good on third down as they were 35.3% at converting, and they were 6 of 17 and turned the ball over 3 times on downs. Liberty had 12 possessions, scoring on 9 of them. 1 possession was the end of the game, so essentially there were 9 of 11 in scoring, and 8 of those 9 scores were touchdowns. Moving on to New Mexico State at Western Kentucky. It was an ugly first half as we saw 6 punts, 3 turnovers, an INT, a turnover on downs, a missed field goal, and 20 points as Western Kentucky led the half 14-6. There's 77 total yards for New Mexico State and 252 for Western Kentucky. They just couldn't execute. 2 turnover on downs, an interception, a missed field goal, 1 punt, 2 touchdowns in the first half for WKU. Roddy Tisdale would settle in towards the end of the third quarter. On the next 3 drives, he would be 8 of 9 passing for 100 yards and a touchdown. Through 3 quarters, New Mexico State only had 107 total yards of offense and were down 28-9. Western Kentucky rolls in this one as the final would be 35-16. Roddy Tisdale, we talked about how this offense is looking a little bit better with him under center. He was 30 for 38, 301, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And Matthew Henry is a thing again. He had 7 receptions for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. Moving on to our bowl eligible teams. With the win, Kennesaw State is now bowl eligible. We have 2 Conference USA bowl eligible teams in Western Kentucky and Kennesaw State.
Yeah, Kennesaw State, first time ever, first time in their brief history, bowl eligible, so that's pretty cool. Conference USA, Delaware and technically Delaware and Missouri State can't play in a bowl unless there aren't enough bowl eligible teams this year, with it being their transition year. And I expect that to kind of be the case. I don't expect I think there could be some 6-win teams that don't get into the bowl just because there's going to be a plethora of 6-win teams and not enough spots. So anyway, all right, now let's get to our Week 11 preview.
All right, Week 11, we've got Missouri State versus Liberty, 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Line, Liberty favored by 7.5 points, over under set at 51.5. Liberty's
another high-scoring affair.
Yeah. Liberty's been playing better. Typically, Liberty has been a really good team in terms of running the ball. They haven't been like that this year, but they've seemed to, like, the last 2 weeks kind of started to get things going, obviously, with
Evan Dickens kind of taking control of that backfield.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of the quarterback.
Ethan Vasco.
Like, man, it's just a world of difference when he's that quarterback.
Yeah.
I think if I were to take a spot here, I think I'm going to probably take the over of the 51.5. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I agree. I think the over is the play here. I look for neither of these defenses are very good. I think another high scoring affair in Conference USA between the Flames and the Bears. I do like the Flames because of the running game. They seem to have gotten that really going, and I think that's going to do wonders for them moving forward. The game's at home, so give me the Flames. I don't know that they're gonna. I wouldn't take them and lay the 7.5. I would I'd take the over under 51.5. I think this game easily goes over that.
All right, Louisiana Tech at Delaware, 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. There's no line for this one, which is kind of weird.
Not on ESPN. I'm sure there is, but there's not one on ESPN, which is
yeah. So in this one I would take Delaware, and I would probably set the over under at probably.
I'm looking to see if I can find it somewhere else. Yeah, get all these freaking ads.
Like, if I had to put it, I think I'd put it at like 53.5.
All right. You're close. So it's 57.5 is the over under, with Louisiana Tech favored by 5.5.
I don't know if I love that.
That's from BetMGM.
I don't know if I love that on the road at Delaware. But this Louisiana Tech team has kind of been up and down as of late. I don't know. I'm probably just staying clear, but Delaware's been fun to watch.
Yeah, and like it's which Louisiana Tech defense is going to show up, right? There's been weeks that the defense has played really bad. There's been weeks they played really well. Even after the Kobe Fields injury. Yeah, I mean, if I had to take something, I'm probably taking Delaware in the points. Being at home, I would think I would take Delaware getting the 5.5 if I had to take something. But in general, I think I agree with you. I think I would just kind of stay clear.
I feel like that's almost the idea for the whole Conference USA, because we get to this next game, FIU at Middle Tennessee, 3 p.m. kickoff. Middle Tennessee is favored by 1.5. Over/under set at 51.5. Like, I feel like I would take the over, but then
take FIU until I mean, I don't know. I think I would take FIU, but yeah, I don't like it.
Like, I think I take FIU, but then
but we don't know if Kewan Jenkins is playing, right? If he's not playing, that changes things too. So,
I mean,
it's just an avoid altogether, man. Like,
yeah,
neither one of these. Florida International has shown signs of being a good team. They've been a little inconsistent, whereas Middle Tennessee, I mean, up until last week, they hadn't been. I mean, they still lost, but
yeah,
they played a little bit better last week. But before that, they just haven't looked good at all.
And if they're not going to get the ball to Middlebrook as much as they should, then I guess I'm going to continue to bet against them.
You got to wonder when Derek Mason's going to be let go.
He shows no emotion on the sideline. Like,
sometimes he looks completely clueless out there, like this past week. Like,
I have no idea what he's
just thinking, dumbfounded.
So,
yeah.
All right, Jacksonville State at UTEP, 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. UTEP favored by 1.5. Over/under set at 48.5. I think I'm going to take Jacksonville State in the points.
Yeah, that's just I don't quite get why UTEP's favored in that game at all. I mean, UTEP defense is okay. I mean, like I said, they played okay last week, other than the penalties is kind of what shot themselves in the foot. But yeah, give me Cam Cook and Jacksonville State over the Miners.
The other thing I think about too, like, you can almost parlay this and go over the 48.5, because I feel like both teams are going to run the ball pretty well on each other. And it's going to be like Locklear running the ball, Cam Cook running the ball, Creel running the ball. The game might go fast, so that might be the only thing.
Yeah, I mean, to get the 48.5, you're talking each of them getting 25,
24.
26 points.
Yeah.
So I think Jacksonville State can get there. I question whether UTEP can get there. I just feel more comfortable taking Jacksonville State, especially getting points, because I would take Jacksonville State outright in this game, and you're getting 1.5 points. So I think Cam Cook's been phenomenal. Look for that to continue this week.
All right, Kennesaw State at New Mexico State, 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Kennesaw State favored by 8.5. Over/under set at 53.5. I would take the over in the points, mainly because the Kennesaw State offense has been really good this season. New Mexico State, Logan Fife has been throwing the ball a lot. And I think that's the reason I would take the over. And I expect them to be down playing from behind. Now that Kennesaw State defense has been pretty good, so maybe that limits the opportunities that they have getting into the end zone. But I think I would take the over 53.5.
Yeah, this game, I don't know. This game feels like an avoid for me in general. It's a big spread. Kennesaw State's played well, but maybe New Mexico State, maybe this is being at home, maybe this is a game New Mexico State pops up and kind of surprises you. So for me, I think I just avoid this game in general.
All right, and then Sam Houston at Oregon State, 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't know. Let's see here. Oregon State favored by 19.5. It's 52.5
over under. This game screams under to me.
Yeah.
And that's a big spread too for Oregon State to cover. I get Sam Houston sucks. And their defense is horrible, but Oregon State hadn't played well either. Those just seem weird. Take the under.
The other part is Oregon State. Do they? Are they looking for a confidence boost? Because this is kind of like that team that you put as your homecoming game in high school. You're like, okay, this is like we're gonna have a good time. Like this seems like that type of game. Like Anthony Hankerson.
I wonder if this is their homecoming game. If Clint's still watching, Clint, is this the Oregon State homecoming game? Because Sam Houston was pretty good last year. Did they think maybe they're gonna suck this year? Let's make it the homecoming game. I don't know.
But I just view Anthony Hankerson just gonna have a huge game in this one. All right. American Conference Week 10 in review. Our Thursday game, Tulane at UTSA. This was a rough night for Tulane. Both teams would have an opening drive touchdown, but then it went like this. Tulane fumble, UTSA field goal, Tulane turnover on downs, UTSA touchdown, Tulane missed field goal, UTSA punt, Tulane interception, UTSA touchdown, Tulane punt, UTSA touchdown, Tulane touchdown, end of the half. That's a lot. 31-12 at the half. Second half, UTSA touchdown followed by yet another Tulane interception. This game was ugly, and UTSA rolls in this one 48-26. Retzlaff would be benched in the third after a second INT of the night and be replaced by Brendan Sullivan. Owen McCown played lights out, 31 of 33 for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interception. He played much more like the Owen McCown that we thought we were going to get this season. That's why I made him my offensive player of the week again against Tulane, who, showing why they could be a top G5 team up to that point, and then Owen McCown just having a huge game when they needed it the most.
Yeah, Jake Retzlaff was god awful in this game. It was bad. This is the UTSA offense we thought we'd see all year, right? Finally showed out in a game against Tulane, and the Tulane offense looked putrid.
Well, let's move on over to Halloween. Friday night game, Memphis versus Rice. Memphis was up 31-7 at the half, and they rolled in this one. Rice had -5 yards in the first quarter and 78 in the second. Memphis pretty much just had their ways with the Owls. Not much to talk about here. They go on to win 38-14. Saturday games, UAB at UConn. UAB had Kitna moved the ball pretty well on the first drive, but he would throw an interception and be replaced by Ryder Burton. In the first half, UConn doubled up UAB in total yards, 232-114. Skylar Bell in the first half had 5 receptions for 71 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was all UConn in this one. Skylar Bell would finish with 8 receptions, 149 yards, and 3 touchdowns as UConn rolls 38-19. Army, Air Force. This one was a fun one, but the first half was like Bizarro World. Helms had a passing touchdown and no rushing touchdown. Air Force held Army to 10 points. Army held Air Force to 3 points, and Sark was bottled up for 29 yards rushing. In the second half, Air Force with the ball to start the second half, they ate up a bunch of time, but you could just feel that they needed a touchdown on this drive. You can't settle for 3 here, and Fortner made a huge tackle to force a 3rd and 7 from the Army 18. Next play would be an interception. Not only do they not get the 3, they don't get any points. As time expires in the third, Sarka runs it in from the 3 to tie the game at 10, and it marked the first touchdown that Air Force scored against Army since 2022. Air Force had been 0 of 32 possessions in terms of scoring touchdowns in against Army. Army responded with a touchdown of their own as Helmus scored from the 10 yards out. Peyton Zadroink had a big ankle tackle on 4th down on Helmus with 2:19 left to take over at the Army 26-yard line. The drive ended with a Sarka rushing touchdown to tie the game at 17 with 1:26 left. But then in classic Air Force secondary fashion, Cale Helmuth with a bomb 42-yard pass to Brady Anderson with 25 seconds left. I'm pretty sure that was Brady Anderson's only catch of the game. It set up the winning field goal, and Army knocks it in 20-17 for the win. It was miscues for Air Force. They had 2 interceptions, a fumble, and a missed field goal. They let this one get away. Navy versus North Texas. North Texas got the ball with 1:55 left in the first half. North Texas, when they get the ball, you would think that they're just going to pass. They got 1:55 left. But they had so much success running the ball. They gave it to Hankins, and they just let him run the ball like 2 or 3 times. The drive would end in a field goal as the Mestamaker threw the ball out of the reach of Miles Coleman for a touchdown. With the Navy getting the ball to start the second half, that kind of felt like a big stop to hold North Texas to a field goal. It was 24-10 North Texas at the half, and it could have been, more. First half, again, all Caleb Hawkins shows he had 17 rushes for 132 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Compare that to Mestamaker, only had 129 yards passing in the first half. Second half, with the Navy's first possession, Horvath would rush the ball in for a touchdown from 3 yards out, and it would mark the 6th straight game that he's had 100-plus rushing yards. It's now 24-17 North Texas. After North Texas punt, you thought Navy may just tie this up, but a critical Horvath interception led to yet another Caleb Hawkins rushing touchdown for his 4th on the day, and a 31-17 North Texas lead, and that would be the final score. East Carolina at Temple, a messy first quarter with 3 combined turnovers led to a 14-7 ECU lead after 1. Temple would score first in the second quarter to tie the game up at 14. However, it was all ECU. After that, they scored 31 unanswered points. ECU was just the more physical team on defense, and their offense was explosive in this one. After Temple tied it up, ECU just, their defense got in the zone. It only allowed 53 total yards to Temple, and another sub 300-yard day as Temple only had 233 yards. Now, interesting fact on this one, Evan Simon threw his first interception of the season in the first quarter. He almost threw a second, but it was ruled incomplete. I just found that was amazing. Making it this far in the season, and that was your first mistake, first interception on the year.
This was a game that I got wrong, right? Because I thought both offenses, were gonna be, scoring, and the Temple offense didn't do much. So, yeah, this game did not play out as I expected, at least on the Temple side, anyway.
All right, bowl eligibility. No new teams to add this week. We've got Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, North Texas, and Navy. Week 11 preview games. Thursday night, UTSA at South Florida, 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. South Florida favored by 14.5 points. Over under set at 68.5. What UTSA team are we going to get? Are we going to get?
If we get that offense from this past week, man, it's going to be fireworks, and you have to take the over.
But I think I am going to take I think I'm going to take South Florida in the points, 14.5. It seems scary, but I just part of me is okay, I'll take the under because what has UTSA showed us more times than not? It's been the under.
Yeah.
And the South Florida defense is pretty good, but I also think the South Florida offense is pretty good, and they might put up 55 points. So I think I'll take South Florida in the points.
I'll take the over. I'll take the over in the game. I think the UTSA offense is going to show up, and we're going to get some fireworks on a Thursday night in November. I'm looking forward to it.
And I think I said take USF in the points. Correct betting term. USF, lay the points with USF. All right. Then we've got Tulane at number 22, Memphis, 9 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Memphis favored by 6.5 points. Over under set at 55.5. I'm going to take Memphis in the 6. I'm going to lay them with Memphis.
I agree. The Tulane offense has looked pretty rough the last couple of weeks. Memphis is playing well, both offense and defense. Brendan Lewis. The word today was that Brendan Lewis, from the offensive coordinator, that he looked fine. He looked like himself. He's ready to go. So we expect Brendan Lewis to play. Now, if Lewis doesn't play, that does change things a little bit. But based on everything I've seen so far, I expect Brendan Lewis to play. And I think Memphis is going to hand Tulane another loss. Be interesting to see what Tulane does on offense, right? Like, Red Stuff looked so bad last week. I don't think Sullivan looked much better. But it'd be interesting to kind of see who they're going to try out there at quarterback. But give me the Tigers and lay in the 6.5 points.
All right, let's move to our Saturday games. We have Temple versus Army, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Army favored by 6.5 points. Over under set at 46.5. Give me Army. Laying the points with Army. Temple has been playing pretty good football, but they just got punched in the mouth this last week. How do they respond is kind of what I'm looking for. I envision this to be a really good game, but I think Army just controls the ball, running the ball. And I don't think Temple is explosive enough. I think they will be able to run the ball. Obviously, I talked about how Simon has been good at protecting the ball, so I don't think Army will get too many turnovers. But I think I'm going to lay the points here with Army.
Yeah. I like the under, too. I don't know it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Army, obviously, can control the ball. And limit the possessions for Temple. So I like the under as well. And I agree with you. I like Army laying the 6.5 points. But, Temple's been good. Can they get this win to get to bowl eligibility in year one under KC Keeler? That'd be pretty cool, considering I think Temple's only won 3 games. Has not won more than 3 games since, 2019. We've talked about it before. I think KC Keeler should get some consideration for coach of the year type stuff. But he's likely not, because, they're not going to be 10 and, have 10 wins or whatever. But he's done a phenomenal job there at Temple. Same thing, he did for Sam Houston when he was there.
All right. UAB at Rice, 2 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Rice favored by 2.5 points. Over under set at 53.5. I'm going to lay the points with Rice, 2.5. UAB thought maybe turning a corner, got a new head coach, turn the page to a new quarterback. I guess not really turn the page, because
they started Kitna last week,
but then they started him, and then they pulled him pretty early. I thought, but I don't know. I think that orbital option offense that Rice has is going to be too much for UAB.
Yeah, this could be a good Quentin Jackson game, right? Quentin Jackson is very much a roller coaster in terms of his production for the Rice Owls. When he can get going, it's good news for Rice, and maybe that UAB defense is just what they ordered for Quentin to have another big game for the Owls. He had, was it 2 weeks last week, right? I think he was your offensive player of the week.
Yeah.
He had a pretty big game. Look for him to. He is the playmaker on this Rice offense. They kind of go as he goes. So look for him to have a big game there against UAB.
All right, Charlotte versus East Carolina, 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. ECU favored by 28.5 points. Over under set at 56.5. I'm going to lay the points with ECU and the 28.5. It's a huge number, but Charlotte is not very good. And I am actually going to go out on a limb and say that East Carolina's defense and special teams scores more points than Charlotte's offense.
Yeah, it could be. I don't think I'd mess with the over under there because I feel like East Carolina would have to score all those points by themselves. Possible. That's how bad Charlotte is. But yeah, I agree with you. Give me East Carolina and the laying the 28.5 points. Caton Hauser, Anthony Smith, Yannick Smith. They should all have big days. Yannick's been kind of quiet, but he had a big game this past week against Temple. Look for the Smith brothers. They're not really brothers, but look for the Smith and Smith connection with Caton Hauser. All of them to have big weeks this week, and then London Montgomery. He's really been coming on strong for the East Carolina Pirates. The running back. He's had a couple good outings in a row, and got another prime matchup for another good outing for London Montgomery against the Charlotte 49ers. Hopefully, I think Tim Albin can get things turned around, but it's going to take some time.
All right. And an interesting matchup here, Tulsa at Florida Atlantic, 3 p.m. Eastern kickoff. FIU favored by 3.5 points, over under set at 64.5. I kind of like Tulsa in this one. I'm going to take Tulsa on the points. I think they could win this one outright. Obviously, Florida Atlantic plays pretty quick. They throw the ball a lot. But I think Tulsa's offense, I think they found something there with their tight end, Foley. And I think he ends up having a big game.
I think this game's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a lot of offense. Both teams, can throw it around. You got, Dominic Richardson on for the running game for the Golden Hurricane. You got Zion Booker, Brody Foley in the passing game, and then you got Easton Messer and Assad Wasim, Caden Veltkamp there for the Owls. I like the over in this game. I think it's going to be, you would look at this game on paper and say, oh, it's a 2-6 team versus a 3-5 team, a 0-win American Conference Tulsa and a 2-win FAU. This game's going to be a stinker. But I think it's going to be a good game. A lot of, especially if you like offense. If you like offense, I would definitely tune into this game on Saturday. Expect a lot of points to be scored. And I really like the over of 64.5.
All right, and then in the G5 versus P4 game, we've got Navy at number 10 Notre Dame, 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Notre Dame favored by 26.5 points, over under set at 56.5. I don't think Notre Dame has been playing all that well. Jadavian Price, I think, got banged up, so this would all be love. I think I would take Navy and the points because I think Notre Dame sees this as an opportunity to rest up some guys. If they get up big, I don't think they pour it on.
I don't know, man. I feel like Notre Dame's going to try and put it on while they can, just to impress the voters in the impress the committee, the playoff committee. Which I think we get that tomorrow night, right? Is that
I don't know.
First? I think it's tomorrow night's the first release. But nonetheless, I think I like Notre Dame. I think they're going to pour it on just to try and impress the voters to try and get back in the college football playoff.
All right, let's move on over to our Sun Belt Conference, our Week 10 in review. We had Tuesday games, James Madison at Texas State. JMU was able to move the ball well on the ground. They had 6 yards per carry. It was 28-20 JMU at the half. Bad third quarter for Texas State. JMU would get the ball to start the second half. They were up 8. 2 plays, a 76-yard touchdown pass to DiGennaro to put JMU up 35-20. Then Texas State interception, followed by a JMU touchdown, followed by another Texas State interception and another JMU touchdown. 2 drives with short fields, 60 yards total. It's 49-20 heading into the fourth quarter. This would end 52-20 in favor of James Madison. Texas State had 3 turnovers in this game, all of which were interceptions. And again, Alonzo Burnett III with yet another impressive performance. 12th of 18 for 246 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 10 rushes for 98 yards on the ground, and another touchdown. I thought early on he might be my candidate again for a player of the week, just how he played. But yeah, Alonzo Burnett keeps this amazing season going, and JMU with an impressive win.
Yeah, I was super. I think I texted you that night. So that was Tuesday night before we saw Tulane and Navy lose. I texted Luke and I said, I'm convinced James Madison is they're a top 3 team. That they are, to me, those 3 teams, JMU, Memphis, and South Florida, make a hell of a game between those three. The JMU defense in the second half, man, like they are impressive. I don't know what the stat is, but like I don't know if they've given up any points in the second half. It's been very few the last several games. They just have absolutely dominated the second half of games. It's kind of crazy, like how that staff has done a phenomenal job. Having said that, I don't expect Bob Chesney to be in Harrisonburg next season. I think Bob Chesney is going to be coaching somewhere in the Power 4. I don't know where, but I doubt he's going to be back at JMU.
You know, it would be a fun game. ECU versus JMU. That would be like probably two, maybe two of the best defenses in the G5 going up against each other.
I'd say I think San Diego State might be the best defense. I'd throw San Diego State number 1. JMU probably be number 2, and
I think
put ECU 3-4 somewhere around there.
I think that would be a fun game to watch. More so, like it'll be probably not very many points scored, but a good defensive struggle.
Yeah.
All right, Thursday game: Marshall at Coastal Carolina. Boy, this Coastal Carolina team's been fun to watch lately. It was a tale of 2 halves. It was 20-17 Marshall after the first half. Second half was 27-7 in favor of Coastal. Coastal would force 5 Marshall turnovers. Marshall had 6 coming into this game. Coastal Carolina, Sam Collier,
Samari Collier
was kind of everything for this offense. Horrible passing, 8 for 20, but had 196 yards passing, 2 touchdowns and interception. Having 196 yards, almost having 200 yards passing on 8 attempts 8 completions is amazing. But he did a lot of his damage on the ground as he had 22 carries for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. Our friends over there at the Thundercast, quote, "This was one of the most embarrassing second halves in recent memory. After taking an early 10-point lead, the Herd allowed 27 unanswered points off 5 turnovers. F's across the board. See y'all in the recap. Good night." That was a tweet that the Thundering Herd, the Thundercast had put out there that I had found a little humorous. But yeah.
Yeah, they just kept turning the ball over time after time. It felt like in a 5-minute span, they turned the ball over like 4 times. If Carlos Del Rio Wilson wasn't throwing an interception, he was fumbling the ball. It was just like self-inflicted wound after self-inflicted wound. And Samari Collier could have made it worse. Like his passing. As you mentioned, only 8 for 20 was not great. He overthrew a couple guys he had wide open deep. But, man, he did a lot, like you said, did all that damage on the ground. And then the Marshall turnovers were just too much to overcome. And I don't know if you didn't see the game, you should go look at the uniforms, but you need to watch the entrance because they had like
highlighter.
They were all glow. They were glow in the dark uniforms. So when you were watching it like with the lights on, you're like, what the heck are they wearing? Like you were like, those just look weird. But you had to watch the entrance in the dark to kind of get the full effect. Glow in the dark uniforms, free concessions, on the teal turf. what more can you ask for during the week?
What you could ask for is a sword with skulls on it, because that's what Coastal was like doing with every turnover.
Well,
They had this like sword and
they
putting
had the
skulls on.
medieval times guys there at halftime. So medieval times and Chauncey, the Chanticleer mascot, they were fighting on the field during halftime. So yeah, cool stuff there at Coastal Carolina. I gotta tell you, like their game production is amazing. Like they just do a great job in terms of, you know, it's just exciting, right? They got the exciting promotions. You got the free concessions, the glow in the dark uniforms, medieval times. I mean, cool stuff there for in Conway for the Chanticleers.
All right, we'll move over to our Saturday games. Old Dominion at UL Monroe. Take it away, Justice.
I mean, Old Dominion started off hot, scored 17 points in the first quarter. UL Monroe has zero semblance of a passing game. Old Dominion had, I think, 5 sacks on the day. ULM just really couldn't get anything going. I want to say Armenta had like 150 yards, and like 90 of those yards came on 2 passes. Yeah, Old Dominion, you know, if I'm going to – Old Dominion gets the win, but there were still things they needed to clean up on. Like the special teams was not good. The kicker, Riley Callahan, missed his first attempt after having troubles a week ago. He got replaced by Nathaniel Eichner. Later on in the game, special teams kind of blew the shutout. They allowed a block punt. ULM got the ball like on the 5-yard line, 1st and goal, and they were able to punch it in and you know, ruin the shutout for the defense. The defense played phenomenal all day. You know, Old Dominion had a turnover again. That's kind of their Achilles heel. They are, I think, 2nd in the country in turnovers, or they might be tied for 1st. But I think they're 2nd. But nonetheless, they just turnovers and special teams, man. Like those are the things that have been the Achilles heel for Old Dominion the last several weeks, and it reared its ugly head again this game. Fortunately for Old Dominion, ULM's not very good, and they were able to get out to a big lead. Colton Joseph missed a couple touchdowns, man. I don't know if he was just extra juiced, extra amped up, but he threw the ball high or overthrew a couple times. He had Dawson Johnson, the tight end, wide open on a slant, and he threw it like way over his head. And then there was a play where he had Ja'Cory Thomas had beat his defender deep, and he threw it just out of the reach of Ja'Cory Thomas. And another play where he missed Naeem Abdul-Rahim Gladding on a touchdown. So Old Dominion left points on the board, and they're not going to be able to do that next week. Well, I guess it's 2 weeks from now against Troy. They have a bye this week. But nonetheless, Old Dominion gets the win, and they move on, and hopefully they can fix their special teams woes with the kicking game, and get ready for a big matchup in 2 weeks against Troy.
Mute button got me. Don't know if you mentioned it or not, but Old Dominion with the 31-6 win in this one.
Yeah, I didn't mention the score, but yeah, I did say they got the win.
Louisiana at South Alabama. Not much to talk about here. It was 24-7 Louisiana after one half of football. Shelton Sampson Jr. with a big day, 6 receptions, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns to help propel the Raging Cajuns to a 31-22 victory over South Alabama. Arkansas State at Troy. The Red Wolves with a fast start as they would score 17 in the first and be up 17-1 after one. Opposite for Troy as they had 10 plays, 30 yards, and a fumble in the quarter. Arkansas State would ride the wave of that first quarter as they would only score 6 more points but the defense held Troy to 10 points and 187 yards of total offense. Jalen Rayner was efficient throwing the ball as he was 21 of 29 for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns. Arkansas State with a surprising 23-10 win. Troy's been playing pretty good football. This is the kind of the Troy team that, I don't know, maybe we would have saw back when they played Buffalo and escaped that game. We haven't seen this Troy team in a long time. So I'm thinking this is maybe just more of a blip. But Arkansas State, if I'm not mistaken, might be one win away from bowl eligibility. They're playing surprisingly good football in a sense of like they're on this roller coaster, but they seem to just be getting wins and stacking them. And I haven't really I'm just like, oh wow, they're almost bowl eligible. This is been pretty wild. So we got our bowl eligibility. We got a couple teams, just one team to add. ODU with their win, they are now bowl eligible. We had JMU, Southern Miss, and Troy last week. ODU joins the party this week,
and it's the fastest. Technically, from a date standpoint, it's the fastest the ODU's ever been bowl eligible since they moved up to the FBS. But it's in 2016. It's the same week. It just so happens that the season started later in 2016 than it did this year. I think in 2016 it was like November 4th or November 5th when they won their 6th game. So yeah, the same week. But from a calendar perspective, from a date perspective, it was the earliest that ODU's ever been bowl eligible. And they need to stack some more wins to, like I said, I don't know that 6 wins is going to guarantee you a bowl game this year.
All right. Let's move on to our Week 11 preview. Thursday, Georgia Southern at App State, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. App State favored by 6.5 points. Over/under set at 62.5. I think I'm going to take I'm going to lay the points with App State. Georgia Southern just hasn't been playing good in general. App State, who are we going to see at quarterback? I just think App State's able to do more on offense, but I don't feel great about it.
I don't know. I don't know that I have a take on in terms of, I think in terms of App and the point or taking Georgia State and the points. I do think a lot of
Georgia
points.
Southern.
Sorry, Georgia Southern. Yes. This is a rivalry game of sorts. These two teams do not like each other. Georgia Southern's a weird team. It's like, they don't like the offense just doesn't show up for like the first half, and then all of a sudden, they show up and then they start scoring points like crazy, and then it's like it's a little too late kind of thing. But J.C. French and Camden Brown have a great connection. To your point, like who's going to start at quarterback for App State? Is it going to be A.J. Swan? It's going to be J.J. Cole. In the last outing, J.J. against Old Dominion, J.J. Cole got the start. Looked terrible. And then A.J. Swan comes in, gave him some juice, led him to a couple touchdowns. So it'll be interesting to kind of see who they roll out there for their for the quarterback for the Mountaineers. I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game. It's probably more of a game I'd rather watch than necessarily have to bet on at this point.
All right. James Madison at Marshall, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff on Saturday. JMU favored by 13.5 points. Over/under set at 55.5. I think I'm going to lay the points with JMU just based off of how JMU's defense has been playing and what that Marshall offense looked like against Coastal Carolina. And I don't think I'm going on a limb, but I think JMU's defense a little bit better than Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I do want to point out, this is the 75 game for Marshall, to honor the those 75 football players and coaches that lost their lives on that plane crash. Um, it's not 75 week because that would have been last week, but this is the game that Marshall was on the road at Coastal last week, so this is the quotes the game that they're going to do honor that team, and so you got to figure that gives Marshall a little you would think gives them a little extra juice, if you will. But yeah, I mean that JMU defense has been playing so well. Yeah, I think I gotta agree. I gotta agree with you and take JMU laying the 13.5 points. But I do expect Marshall to play JMU tough. But man, that JMU defense in the second half of games has been nothing short of amazing.
All right, Southern Miss at Arkansas State, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Southern Miss favored by 4.5 points, over under set at 56.5. Lay the points with Southern Miss. I think this Southern Miss team is for real here in the Sun Belt. I haven't been super impressed with Arkansas State. Arkansas State will be going for bowl eligibility in this one, but I just don't think it's enough. I think Southern Miss wins this one.
Yeah, this is an interesting game because this Southern Miss wins this game. They put Arkansas State at 2 losses. So then that really only leaves Troy right behind them with 1 loss. So this is a big game in terms of winning the Sun Belt West for Southern Miss. So I agree with you. I think Southern Miss comes out to play. The Southern Miss secondary has been playing amazing. I don't know the numbers. They got to be one of the tops in all of college football in terms of interceptions. Definitely one of the tops in the Sun Belt and the G5. Yeah, Arkansas State has been winning, but they haven't been playing great. Southern Miss looks like a team on a mission, and what a turnaround, like we said earlier, by that coaching staff and Charles Huff, going from worst to first. It looks like, right? And I'm jacked because I have some money on the Southern Miss to win. Now I have money on them to win the Sun Belt West. I also have money on to win the Sun Belt, but I also have money on them just to win the Sun Belt West. So I'm jacked the way they're looking, and I hope they get this win because it sets them up really nice to win the Sun Belt West.
All right, and then Georgia State at Coastal Carolina, 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Coastal Carolina favored by 7.5 points. Over under set at 57.5. Give me Coastal Carolina laying the points. Georgia State just not playing good football right now. Coastal has found something. There was Samari Collier at quarterback here the last 3 games. While he's not passing particularly well, he's running pretty good. And I look for that to continue here in Week 11.
If you like dual threat quarterbacks, this is the game to watch. You got Cameron Brown, who's played really, really well for Georgia State the last few weeks, and then, like Luke said, Samari Collier. Both of these guys can get it done with their legs. So if you like dual threat quarterbacks, tune in to watch Cameron Brown versus Coastal Carolina. I expect both of those guys to have big games for their respective teams.
All right. And the last game for the Sun Belt for the week, Texas State at Louisiana, 5 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Texas State favored by 2.5 points, over under set at 64.5. Give me Louisiana the points at home. Texas State just in a downward spiral. Raging Cajuns playing pretty good football. We'll see what they do at the quarterback position, but this one's going to be maybe another Shelton Sampson show. Give me the Raging Cajuns.
One thing I forgot to mention in the news and notes, and that's Texas State offensive lineman Talik Lockett is sitting out the rest of the year. He's no longer on the team. He's not listed on the roster anymore. He's basically sitting out the rest of the season. and taking a red shirt year and going somewhere else. That's a loss for them. He's one of the better rated offensive linemen in our G5 Hive rating. So that is a loss for them. Man, Texas State, you would have. I'm sure they were hoping for better things as they move on to the Pac-12 in 2026. Brad Jackson, that dude's a baller. But to your point, Louisiana's played really well with Lunch Winfield. Again, expect a high scoring game. I think I would take the over. I don't really have a strong feeling one way or another on the spread. I think it's going to be high scoring game. So give me the over 64.5.
All right, now let's move on over to our Mountain West Conference games, our Week 10 review. Note, our Air Force was covered in the American Week 10 preview for their matchup with Army. So let's move on over to New Mexico at UNLV. 45 points were scored in the second quarter of this one. UNLV had 4 turnovers in the first half, 1 turnover on downs and 2 fumbles, and that equaled 14 points for New Mexico. It was 31-21 at the half in favor of New Mexico. UNLV would score a touchdown with 6:18 left to go in the game to go up 35-34. The following drive, the Lobos would have 3 big chunk plays, and they would score a touchdown on J.D. Buchanan from 13 yards out. They would go for 2, but were unable to convert. So it's 40-35 in favor of the Lobos with 2:54 left. And that would be your final score as UNLV gets knocked off at home. Fresno State at Boise State. This game was rough to watch, and I'll tell you why. Madsen helped off the field, took a cart back to the locker room. He could barely put any weight on his right foot. Max Cutforth would step in, and he would have 106 yards passing on the day. Fresno State, if you don't remember, they made a switch at quarterback. Carson Conklin, he only had 35 yards passing on the day. It was this Boise State defense that played, or it was the Fresno State defense that played well. Boise State had -8 total yards in the first quarter. Coaches talk about that 8 minutes, the middle 4 minutes at the end of the first half and the first 4 minutes at the start of the second half. How did Boise State do? Well, they had 3 turnovers and 6 snaps. They had 2 interceptions and a fumble that led to 10 points for Fresno State. A field goal broke the tie, and a touchdown put them up 17-7. 5 possessions, 16 yards for Boise State at one point. It's 17-7 with 7:26 left in the third. Fresno State would tack on 13 more to win 30-7 on the Smurf turf. Fresno State wins the milk can and snap Boise State's 16 home game winning streak. Wyoming at San Diego State. Wyoming would score on their opening drive to go up 7 early. However, Anderson would throw a touchdown throw an interception late in the first quarter. San Diego State offense wasted no time as Jalen Denegal found Byron Cardwell on a tunnel screen for a 24-yard touchdown. Had him out there wide as a wide receiver. Byron Cardwell running back, and then kind of went in and then back out. It was good looking play. In the second quarter, Anderson would throw another interception, and San Diego State would turn that into 3 points. They're up 10-7, and then kind of a wild 5 series to end the half. San Diego State would throw an interception. Wyoming misses the field goal. San Diego State would score a touchdown, and then both teams throw an interception to end the half. San Diego State leads 17-7 at the half. Not much happens in the second half. The highlight was a 50-yard Lucky Sutton touchdown run to increase the Aztecs' lead with 2:55 left in the game. San Diego State wins 24-7. And then the nightcap for our Saturday night, Hawaii at San Jose State. If you were here for the points, you got them.
Yes.
However, originally not kind of the way you would expect it. The first 28 points scored in this game were on the ground. San Jose State running back Steve Chavez Soto had 43 of his 53 yards and 2 of his 3 touchdowns in the first half. But with about 5 or 6 minutes left to go in the first half, the passing game would pick up. And that's kind of what you thought you were going to see all game. Both teams combined for over 1,000 yards in total offense. More than 80 points were scored in this game. Pofili Ashlocks, Jackson Harris for Hawaii, Danny Scudero, Leland Smith, and Kyrie Scholes for San Jose State, all over 100 yards receiving. Harris and Scudero each had 2 touchdowns. I'll pick things up here at the end of the third as San Jose State is up 38-21. Mike Alajado's 45-yard pass to Braden White and 11-yard pass to Pofili Ashlock set up Landon Sims for a 2-yard touchdown run to cut the lead to 10. San Jose State would go up 3 and out, punting it back to Hawaii, and they would take over on their own 27. More big chunk plays for Hawaii would set, which would see them end in a 20-yard Jackson Harris touchdown to make it 38-35 San Jose State. The first play of the San Jose State drive is a 42-yard pass from Eget to Leland Smith, and on a key third down, it was 3rd and 3 from the Hawaii 4. Eget finds Scudero for exactly 3 yards, and then freshman sensation Steve Chavez Soto would punch it in from a yard out to put San Jose State up 10 with 5:37 left. Hawaii would then drive down the field, but would have to settle for a field goal inside the Spartans' 10-yard line. Hawaii would go for an onside kick. However, it would go out of bounds. Victory formation for the Spartans. San Jose State wins 45-38 in an exciting game.
It was, man. It was an exciting game. Like I said, if you want I stayed up until I fell asleep at some point in the third quarter, man. But it was pretty late for me on the East Coast. But yeah, definitely exciting game. A game full of offense. It's two teams with high flying offenses, and that's what we got.
I just very shocked at the beginning. Just like all of the running that happened, and then they were like, all right, let's give the fans what they wanted. This is what they wanted, and then it was an aerial attack from then on. All right.
Bowl eligibility.
We have a couple teams that get added to this. Fresno State and New Mexico are added with their wins. So now the Mountain West is up to 6 teams, which ties the American for most bowl-eligible teams. So we've got Boise State, New Mexico, Hawaii, Fresno State, UNLV, and San Diego State. Now, our Week 11 preview, we have all Saturday games here. We've got Air Force at San Jose State, 6 p.m. Eastern kickoff. San Jose State favored by 3.5 points. Over-under set at 66.5. Give me San Jose State and the points.
Yeah, I agree with you. San Jose State offense should have another field day. Both teams should have a field day. I think neither defense has played especially well. Look for Liam Sarka to have a big day for Air Force, but I just think that that San Jose State offense is going to be too much for the Falcons. Scudero, Kyrie Scholes, Leland Smith, the 1-2 punch of Steven Chavez Soto and Lamar Radcliffe. It's just going to be too much for the Falcons. Give me San Jose State laying the 3.5 points.
All right, Nevada at Utah State, 7:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Utah State favored by 9.5 points. Over under set at 53.5. I'm taking Utah State. I'm laying the points with Utah State. I feel like 9.5 is actually kind of a low number. Like,
I don't know. I was gonna say it might be a little bit high. Nevada defense isn't terrible. The issue is their offense.
Yeah, it's their offense, but that Utah State defense has been playing pretty well as of late. Which Bryson Barnes are we going to get? Yeah, that's I guess that's probably the key. But I think as long as he's able to get the ball out of his hands pretty quick, got a really good defensive end. I'm trying to remember his name.
Dylan LaBarbera.
Barbera. Yeah, he's exciting. He's a good
a beast, man. Like, if for no other reason to watch this game, watch it for Edge Dylan LaBarbera. I feel fairly confident saying he's not going to be at Nevada next year. Some P4 is going to offer Dylan a lot of money, and he's going to move up. So yeah, Brett's asking, is Bryson Barnes still hurt? I haven't heard anything about him being hurt. As far as I know, I expect him to go in the game. He just hasn't been very effective lately. Maybe he's got some kind of lingering injury. That's why he hasn't been effective. But they're coming off a bye week, so hopefully, he's fresh. Miles Davis, Brandon Pegan, etc. They're all fresh and ready to go. It kind of look like the offense that we saw in the beginning of the year.
All right, UNLV at Colorado State, 9:30 p.m. kickoff. UNLV favored by 4.5 points, over under set at 62.5. I have no idea why UNLV is only favored by 4.5 points.
That is crazy. Like, did they not watch Colorado State last game? Like, they were
at all this year.
They were god awful.
So yeah, I think that's me saying I'm going to lay the points with UNLV.
Yeah, I agree. UNLV laying the 4.5 points. Colorado State offense has not looked good all year. They just can't seem to. What's that? Yeah, I
don't know what I'm missing.
I don't know either. The Colorado State offense has not been good. The defense hadn't been like terrible, but the offense has been. There's just like no identity. And now maybe they'll get right. I don't know. UNLV defense isn't very good, but I think the UNLV offense is going to have their way with the Rams. I think at this point the Rams are a lame duck team, if you will, right? So yeah, give me the Rebels laying the 4.5 points.
All right, and then in probably the exciting game of the week for the conference is San Diego State at Hawaii, which I think is key. 11 p.m. Eastern kickoff. San Diego State favored on the road by 6.5 points. Over under set at 50.5 points. I do like San Diego State to win this. I think I'm going to lay the points with the Aztecs in the 6.5. I would also be tempted to take the under in the points because I think this Aztec defense is for real.
They're really good. I agree with you on that front. The other thing I was going to say or add is, San Diego State, has only got a 1-game lead up on Boise in terms of the Mountain West Conference. But as we said, Boise's on a downward trend, especially without MACtion. And so, they win this game, man. Like it seems like it would lock them in for a spot in that Mountain West Championship game. Conversely, on the flip side, Hawaii needs this win to kind of set themselves up for potentially making that Mountain West Championship game. So big game for both teams. It is at Hawaii, but man, that's San Diego State defense, I would say, is the best defense in the group of 5. They got Trey White, another great edge. Hasn't played as well as he did a year ago, but he's been coming on strong as of late. They got one of the top cornerbacks in all of the country in Chris Johnson. And so it's going to be a good matchup of a very strong defense against a high-flying offense. I think I do have to give the edge to the Aztecs, though.
All right, let's head over to the Mid-American Conference, and we're going to do our Week 10 in review, our Saturday games. Buffalo at Bowling Green. Drew Pine gets a start for Bowling Green after I think he was carted off the week before. Late in the second quarter, Red Murdoch forced a fumble that was recovered by Buffalo's Jalen McNair and returned 20 yards to the Bowling Green 6-yard lines. The Bulls would cash it in for a 21-0 halftime lead. That Murdoch forced a fumble was his 17th of his career, breaking an FBS record held by Khalil Mack, who also played for the Bulls. Buffalo goes on to win this one 28-0. I want to highlight friend of the podcast, LJ Henderson, had 119 yards rushing, including a 41-yard touchdown run. Nick McMillan continues to have a pretty good stretch of games here. He had 105 yards receiving of Taquan Robertson's 136 passing yards. So big day for Nick McMillan. And then Central Michigan at Western Michigan. This was a fun rivalry game. Here, let's set the stage. It's 14-14 heading into the fourth quarter. There were 17 points scored in the fourth quarter. Central Michigan had a 16-play drive that ended in a touchdown to start the fourth quarter, and it ate up nearly 9 minutes. Western Michigan would respond with a field goal to cut the lead to 4. Then after CMU 3 and out, Western would have a nearly 5-minute drive that would end in a 7-yard touchdown pass from Brock Lauer to Talik Williams with 2:08 left. And then the play of the game happened. It was the first play after the 2-minute warning. Defensive lineman Marcel Tyler had a huge INT. He got his hands up, can't get to the quarterback, got to get my hands up, deflected it, got off the block, intercepted the pass. Western Michigan holds on to win this one 24-21, and they get the victory cannon. Now, again, bowl eligibility teams, nothing. We've got no bowl eligible teams. We've got a slew of teams with 5. So this would be a big week for the MAC looking to get some bowl eligible teams. So let's get into our week 11 previews. It's time for mid-week MACtion. We've got Tuesday games, UMass at Akron, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Akron favored by 9.5 points. Over under set 49.5. Give me. I'm going to lay the points with Akron. UMass again searching for their first win. Akron's been playing pretty good football. I'll lay the points 9.5 with Akron.
Yeah, I like Akron in this one. Jordan Gant. I like for Jordan Gant to have a big day. Running the ball. He's their workhorse running back. He doesn't get a lot of touchdowns, but I think he's going to get a touchdown this week against the Minutemen. I think he's going to have a big game for the Akron Zips and get the Akron Zips to 500 in the MAC. Bring them up to 3-3. And I don't know that a lot of folks would have expected that from Akron heading into the season.
And then Miami versus Ohio, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff. A huge Tuesday game. Ohio only favored by 2.5 points. Over under set at 50.5. What Ohio team are we going to see? Can Parker Navarro kind of limit those turnover-worthy plays that he's been a part of a lot? I do want to lay the points with Ohio in this one because I do think they're the better team. But if you were to tell me Miami wins this one outright, I don't think I'm going to be shocked. But the only way I'd be shocked is if Ohio protected the ball well and Miami just flat out beat them. I think that would surprise me. I think if Miami wins this one, it's because Parker Navarro had too many interceptions.
Yeah, this could be a game. This could be a preview of the MAC championship game. So it could be a little sneak preview there. I agree with you. I do like the Bobcats in this one laying the points. You can't count out DeQuan Finn, but I just think the Bobcats have too many offensive weapons. You got Parker Navarro, Saban Gura, Chase Hendricks. I think it's going to be too much for DeQuan Finn and Cam Perry to overcome. I like the Ohio defense a little bit more. It gets at home. So, yeah, give me the Bobcats.
All right. And then Wednesday, we've got Kent State at Ball State. Ball State favored by 1.5 points. Over under set at 45.5.
Give me Kent State, man.
Yeah. Kent State playing some pretty good football. Ball State is just is Kyle Kelly, Quay Ashley going to be able to run the ball enough? But yeah, I think I'm with you. Give me Kent State in the points.
Yeah, a year ago, who would have ever thought? Here we are predicting. We were predicting a win for Kent State. Mark Carney has done a phenomenal job. He got the interim
I don't think we
interim
mentioned
title
that.
removed. He is the full-time head coach there at Kent State, and he deserves it, man. What a phenomenal job he's done under some pretty difficult circumstances. So he definitely deserved it, and I think Kent State's going to get him the win. Can you imagine if Kent State got to bowl eligibility this year? Holy bejesus! Like Mark Carney would deserve national. It's not going to happen, but he would deserve national coach of the year, in my opinion, if Kent State got to bowl eligibility. That's how bad they were. And, again, phenomenal job by Mark Carney. I think the Golden Flashes get the win against Ball State this week.
All right. And then Northern Illinois at Toledo, 7 p.m. Kickoff, Eastern kickoff. Toledo favored by 14.5 points, over under set at 42.5. I'm going to lay the points with Toledo. I don't feel great about it, but I hope to see Chip Trainum back. And I just feel like Toledo's going to run the ball, and NIU just has a hard time moving the ball in this one.
Yeah, they need Chip back. Hopefully, we'll get word early on Wednesday that he's available. Regardless, I think Toledo wins. I don't even know if Tucker Gleason can play bad enough for them to lose. I'm going to avoid this game from a betting perspective. I do think Toledo wins. Northern Illinois is just, not good. Good running game. The defense isn't as good as we've seen in years past, but they have zero semblance of a passing game. And hopefully, I like Coach Hammock. Hopefully he can get things turned around next year for the Huskies. I like the Rockets to win.
All right. And then Saturday, Bowling Green at Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan favored by 2.5 points, over under set at 50.5 points. I'm going to lay the points with Eastern Michigan, trying to figure out, what Bowling Green's going to do on offense, changing play callers. I'm going to lay the points with Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, I'm with you. Noah Kim, Dante McMillan, that offense against Eastern Michigan has no trouble scoring points. Bowling Green, on the other hand, does have trouble scoring points, as evidenced by the firing of the OC this week. I'm going to agree with you. Give me the Eastern Michigan Eagles laying the 2.5 points.
All right,
and
that does it for our week in review, our previews for Week 11. Let's move on over to our 2020 players through 10 weeks of the season. That is key. Through 10 weeks. It's not Week 10. It's not Week 9. It is through 10 weeks of the season. Let's start with the quarterbacks. Number 1, Nick Minicucci, Delaware. Number 2, Mike Alhada, Hawaii. 3, Drew Mestemaker, North Texas. 4, Caden Veldkamp, FAU. 5, Byron Brown, new to the list this weekend, jumps up to number 5. Number 6, Joe Fagano at UConn. Number 7, Walker Egat, San Jose State. Number 8, Caden Hauser, East Carolina. Number 9, Maverick MacGyver, Western Kentucky. Number 10, Jalen Rayner, Arkansas State. Number 11, Logan Fife, New Mexico State. Number 12, Nicholas Fadiado, Middle Tennessee. Number 13, Noah Kim, Eastern Michigan. And number 14, Jalen Kitna, UAB. Now, I want to talk about a couple things here. At this point in the season, I'm kind of using a 3 strikes and you're out type approach. Maverick MacGyver missed 2 games. Jalen Kitna's missed a game. The game only started 1 and then replaced. If they don't play this week, I will drop them out of the running next week. But Joe Fagano's 22 touchdowns leads this group. You got Walker Egat with an ADOT of 12.8, which leads the group. And then I found it interesting. Noah Kim has the most time to throw the ball of this group with 2.93 seconds. And Hauser has the least amount of time of this group to throw the ball, 2.17. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily the offensive line or he's just chucking it pretty quick anyways without the pressure. Jalen Rayner puts the ball in harm's way the most out of everybody in this group with 17 turnover-worthy plays, while Joe Fagano is the safest with only 4 turnover-worthy plays. And then no surprise here, but Byron Brown leads the way in rushing yards, sacks not included for this group with he's 83.7 yards per game. Moving on over to running backs. Number 1, Cam Cook, Jacksonville State. Number 2, Caleb Hawkins, North Texas. Number 3, Rashawn Dominion, App State. Number 4, Robert Henry Jr., UTSA. Kewan Owens at number 5 for FIU. Number 6, Wayne Knight, James Madison. Number 7, Dante McMillan, Eastern Michigan. Number 8, Chip Trainum, Toledo. Number 9, Lucky Sutton for San Diego State. Number 10, Lincoln Pear, Texas State. Number 11, Cam Edwards, UConn. Number 12, Dominic Richardson at Tulsa. Coming in at number 13, Asay Bangura, Ohio. 14, LJ Henderson at Buffalo. And then number 15 from Oregon State, Anthony Hankerson. Of the 15 running backs, 9 are averaging more than 100 yards per game, with Cam Cook leading the way, averaging 155 yards per game. Wayne Knight and Caleb Hawkins lead the group in receptions per game with 3. Cam Cook and Caleb Hawkins lead the G5 in touchdowns on the ground with 11. Cam Cook has been elusive as he leads the G5 in missed tackles, 4th with 67. Caleb Hawkins is next with 47, similar to MacGyver and Kitna. Chip Trainum, if he is unable to go this week, he will drop out of this group. Moving over to the wide receivers, I feel like this wide receiver group has been like the lowest this year compared to the last 2 years that we've done this. Number 1, Danny Scudero, San Jose State. Number 2, Skylar Bell, UConn. Number 3, Chase Hendricks, Ohio. Number 4, Ted Hurst, Georgia State. Number 5, Bo Sparks, Texas State. Number 6, Easton Messer, FAU. Number 7, Camden Brown, Georgia Southern. Number 8, Junior Vandeross III, Toledo. Number 9, Kyrie Duplessis, Delaware. And number 10, Kyrie Scholes, San Jose State. Of the 10 wide receivers, 4 are earning double-digit targets per week. That's Scudero, Bell, Hurst, and Messer. Messer and Bell lead the way with 8 receptions per game, but Scudero's 7.88 receptions per game are very, very close behind. Only 3 of the 10 are averaging 100-plus receiving yards per game. That is Scudero, Bell, and Hendricks. Bell leads the G5 in touchdowns with 11, but Scudero is right behind him with 10. Those 2 are the only 2 with double-digit touchdowns. Camden Brown is next with 9. Camden Brown leads the group of 5 with a 15.4 ADOT, or average depth of target, and Ted Hurst, 6.9 yards after the catch per reception, is first amongst this group. Moving over to our tight ends, we've got number 1, Dorian Thomas, New Mexico. Number 2, Gavin Harris, New Mexico State. Brody Foley, Tulsa. Number 3, Jaron Johnson, Bowling Green at number 4, and Eli Finley, Louisiana Tech at number 5. I took out Isaiah Cummings. He would have been number 3 in this, but being out for the season took him out. Brody Foley leads the G5 in touchdowns with 6. Only Gavin Harris and Dorian Thomas are averaging over 50 yards per game and 6 targets per game. Thomas is the only tight end in this group who's averaging 4 receptions per game, which is also best in the G5. Brody Foley is close behind with 48. Gavin Harris leads the group in ADOT with 9.9, and Brody Foley is second with 9.7. Foley is leading the group in yards after the catch with 8.7 yards.
All right, let's move over to the offensive line. The big guys in the trenches here. We're going to start with the centers. These guys are ranked by our G5 Hive O-line rating. It's a proprietary offensive lineman rating that we came up with this offseason. It looks at the performance of the team's offensive line as a unit, as well as the individual player's performance. And then we have a minimum. I think it's 300. It's up to 300 snaps now. It's a moving minimum each week. I believe like right now we're using 30 snaps a week. So this unit's been pretty solid for the last several weeks. But number one, we got Elijah Fisher, UL Monroe, a G5 Hive offensive line rating of 80.59. He has allowed 3 pressures and 549 snaps. Number 2, Jacobs Bomer, Fresno State, a rating of 80.06. He has a negative play rate of 1.73%. Coming in at number 3, we got Anthony Boswell of Toledo, a rating of 79.27. He has a pressure per snap percentage of 1.8. Number 4, Brock Reicher, Texas State, a rating of 78.89, a negative play rate of 1.86%. And rounding out the top 5 for the centers is Zach Elam, Coastal Carolina, 78.06 rating. He's allowed 5 pressures and 388 snaps. All right, moving over to the guards. Number 1, we got Shadre Hurst, Tulane, a rating of 81.76. He has a negative play rate of 1.65%. Number 2, Tristan Smith, Arkansas State. We talked earlier about him having an injury, having to be carted off the field. Hopefully, he's good to go for Arkansas State this week. He's been a stalwart on that offensive line. He has a rating of 80.93. He's allowed 4 pressures and 679 snaps. Number 3, we got Gabe Blair, North Texas, a rating of 80.51. He has a negative play rate of 1.69%. Number 4, Jay Mickle, UL Monroe, a rating of 80.08. He's allowed 6 pressures and 541 snaps. And rounding out the top 5, we got number 5, Will Jeffcoat of Army, 79.74 rating. And he has an impressive negative play rate of 0.68%. All right, moving over to the offensive tackles. Number 1, we got Travis Burke from Memphis, a rating of 80.07. He has a pressure per snap rate of 3.59%. Number 2, Nick Del Grande, Coastal Carolina, a rating of 79.56. He has a negative play rate of 1.16%. Number 3, Cage Casey, Boise State, a rating of 79.15. He has a pressure per snap rate of 3.12%. Number 4, Dorian Strawn, Texas State, 78.18 rating. He's allowed 13 pressures and 570 snaps. And rounding out the top 5, we got Braden Nelson, North Texas, a rating of 78.09. He has a negative play rate of 2.88%. All right, moving over to the defensive side of things, we got the defensive ends, edges. We rate these guys are ranked by havoc rate. Havoc rate is something that's looking at sacks, pressures, quarterback hurries, tackles for loss, stops on 3rd and 4th down, etc., basically causing negative plays on an offense. Number 1, we got Nadame Tucker, Western Michigan, a havoc rate of 18.59%. He has 9 sacks on the year, second amongst the G5 edges. Number 2, we talked about him earlier, Dylan LaBarbera, Nevada, havoc rate of 17.99% with an impressive rush win rate of 17.6%. Number 3, Jamon Tapp, Southern Miss, havoc rate of 17.85%. He ranks 7th among edges and tackles per game with 4.75. Number 4, we got Adam Trick, Miami of Ohio, 17.72% havoc rate with 46 total pressures, ranks 2nd among G5 edges and pressures. And rounding out our top 5, we got Marquise White, UMass, a havoc rate of 16.13%, and he has 18 stops on the year. That's stopping a quarterback or a running back when they're running the ball on 3rd and 4th down where they don't convert the first down. All right, moving over to defensive tackles. This group has been pretty consistent again last several weeks. Number 1, we got Ezra Christensen from New Mexico State, 15.56% havoc rate with 6 sacks. That is second among G5 defensive tackles. Number 2, DeMonte Smith, Middle Tennessee, havoc rate of 14.09% with 25 total pressures. That is third among G5 defensive tackles. Number 3, Dejon Benton, Hawaii, 12.22% havoc rate with 16 stops on third and fourth down on the year. Number 4, Junior Poiser, Buffalo, an 11.33% havoc rate with a rush win rate of 17.1%. And rounding out the top 5, we got Gafafaga, San Jose State, a 10.91% havoc rate with 27 total pressures. He ranks second among G5 defensive tackles in pressures. All right, moving over to the linebackers, the guys in the middle, the tackling machines in the group of 5. These guys are ranked according to tackles per game. Number 1, we got Ray Coney from Tulsa, averaging 12.38 tackles per game. He has an impressive solo tackle rate of 71%. Number 2, talked about it earlier, Red Murdoch, Buffalo, 12 tackles per game. He has 6 forced fumbles on the year. As Luke said earlier, he set an NCAA career record this week with 17 forced fumbles, breaking that record held by former Bull and NFL great Khalil Mack. Number 3, Micah Davey, UTEP, 11 tackles per game with a missed tackle rate of 9.3%. Tied with Micah at number 3 is Quinn Erweiler, Northern Illinois, 11 tackles per game with a solo tackle rate of 76%. And rounding out our top 5 linebackers is Jackson Eck from New Mexico, averaging 10.6 tackles per game, and he has 40 third and fourth down stops on the year. All right, moving over to our cornerbacks. And this for cornerbacks, defensive backs, and safeties, we use adjusted net yards against per coverage snap. Basically, you're taking what happens when they're targeted, their receptions, yards, touchdowns, etc., and subtracting interceptions, interception yards, interception return for a touchdown, pass defense, etc., dividing that by the number of coverage snaps these guys are playing. And talked about this guy in our preview. That's Chris Johnson, San Diego State. He is number 1. He's been number 1, I don't know, it feels like half the season, if not more, for cornerbacks, with an adjusted net yards against of negative 0.137. And he has a quarterback rating against of 17.5. Number 2, Amarian McCoy, Boise State, negative 0.099 adjusted net yards against. He has 4 interceptions on the year, which ranks third amongst G5 cornerbacks. Number 3, Amaris Brown, UNLV, positive 0.127 adjusted net yards against. He has 4 interceptions and 5 pass breakups on the year. Number 4, Boogie Trotter, Marshall, 0.246 adjusted net yards against, with 5 interceptions on the year, which ranks first among G5 corners. Number 5, Simeon Harris, Fresno State, 0.323 adjusted net yards against, and he is averaging 4.33 tackles per game. Moving over to the safeties, again, adjusted net yards against per coverage snap. Number 1, Jakari Foster, Louisiana Tech, a negative 0.452 adjusted net yard against, with a quarterback rating against of 9.8. Number 2, Jalen Lewis, Western Kentucky, negative 0.091 adjusted net yards against, averaging 4.56 tackles per game. Number 3, Dwayne McDougal, San Diego State, negative 0.046 adjusted net yards against, with 3 pass breakups on the year. Number 4, Jalen Clark, Louisiana, negative 0.025 adjusted net yards against, with a quarterback rating against of 14.6. And rounding out our top 5, we got Corey Myrick, Southern Miss, and it's a rating of 0.009 adjusted net yards against, and he is averaging 4.75 tackles per game. And that is going to round out our 2020 players. If you're looking for, who's number 6, who's number 7, Or if you want to see even P4 players, subscribe to our website. We have all the 2020 players listed there, broken down by position. You can find all the stats that we talk about where we rank the players, as well as, additional stats as well. There's fantasy football metrics. There's advanced metrics. And then, of course, your standard stats. Everything you want to know about the player, including his 247 rating and his star rating, what class he was in, etc. Everything you want to know is found on our website, so go check it out.
All right. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. On X, give us a follow. And if you're listening to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings and review. We are so very, very grateful for the amount of support we've received, and we sincerely thank each and every one of you. Be sure to join us next week as we discuss what happened in Week 11. Look forward to what's coming up in Week 12, and as always, bring you up to date on the latest news and happenings in the world of G5 college football. Until the next time, we are the G5 Hive.